Hello and welcome to day one of this 5-day realistic reset. The first thing I want you to do is go and get your earpods, your headphones, if that's still a thing, put them on and get yourself out for a walk so that you can listen to this podcast while you go for a walk. That two of the things that I'm gonna get you to do today is going for a half-hour walk. No, not a run, not a super intense body pump workout at your gym, like nothing like that. Just go out for a walk and just get moving again. And the second thing I'm going to ask you to do is listen to this podcast. So here you can kill two birds with one stone. And in this first podcast episode, I'm just going to introduce you to the concept of this realistic reset, what we're trying to do, what we're not trying to do. I'm going to take you through the basic structure of this 5-day reset and what we're going to focus on. Then I'm going to give you instructions, the rest of your instructions for today. Don't worry, it's not that much. And I'm going to talk you through a little bit of the rationale. Okay, so by now you're hopefully out on your walk. Let's go through what this 5-day reset is aiming to do. What I want to achieve with this reset is one of two things. Either if you want to start a fat loss journey, if you have a lot of weight to lose, if you want to start a health journey, maybe you've just never got back to where you feel your best after having kids, I want this to be a great start to the process where we lay the foundational groundwork for the journey ahead, where we focus on the big rocks, the really important stuff that is going to get you results in the long term. And secondly, I want this to be a reset that you can come back to every time you overdo it, or every time you overeat, or every time you get off track. Because one of the things that I have noticed as a fat loss coach, as a weight loss coach to mums over the past, 4 years now, is that one of the hardest thing, probably the hardest thing for people, is getting back on track after a slip up and dealing with ideations of perfectionism, feeling like you have to have a streak. What most people do is they start a really strict diet, a massive overhaul where they cut tons of things out, they eat way too little, and they expect really fast results and they expect to stick to it no matter what. And depending on how much motivation or self-loathing they have behind them, they usually stick to it for somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks. And then after that, they have a slip up, right? They either go to a birthday party and have a bit of the cake or some of the brownies at work, or they go to a family gathering and they just overdo it, or they don't stick to their strict meal plan, or they have white sugar for the first time. And then that's it. They've broken their streak and they just feel like it's the end. They've ruined everything. They catastrophize, they spiral, and they just let everything go. They gain the weight back, sometimes they gain more, and once the self-loathing and being fed upness has built up enough, they start the cycle all over again. And every time they say, this time I'm gonna do it, this time I'm gonna give up carbs or sugar, for the rest of my life, I'm never going to touch it again. I'm just going to have more motivation. I'm going to have more willpower, and I'm just going to do it this time. And obviously it never, ever, ever works. Any program or diet or fitness challenge or regime that you have has to allow for the fact that you are going to be a human. You are going to have slip-ups. You are going to overeat. You are going to overindulge sometimes. That is normal. That is part of a normal and healthy relationship with food. And it is not necessary to eat perfectly all the time in order to reach all your health and fitness goals. And it's not because I've done a really strict diet where I've cut a load of stuff out and I haven't slipped up once. I have had tons and tons and tons of slip ups along the way, tons of meals where I've overdone it, tons of holidays and vacations where I've just overindulged and gained 2 kilos. This Christmas, I managed to gain 3 kilos in just over a week. So that's pretty impressive. But my superpower is that I know how to just brush it off and get right back on track at the next opportunity. So get back on track the next meal or the next day at the next opportunity. And if you learn how to do that, honestly, you'll be unstoppable and you will get way better results than you could ever have imagined. So that's going to be a huge theme of this challenge is like not challenge, reset, whatever it is. One, being a human and allowing yourself to some flexibility to be human, right? And not be completely perfect all the time. And two, learning how to gain control of your thoughts and get over the slip up, not beat yourself up, and just get back on track and continue. We do tend to have catastrophizing thoughts, but if my brain took me there this time and I just said, oh, fuck it, I've gained 3 kilos, this is the end of my fitness journey, I'm just going to put all the weight back on, then I would just keep going and gain 10 kilos and 20 kilos, and then I would be in a much worse position. But because I got back and straight away started doing this reset, the stuff that I'm going to share in this reset, just getting my head in the right space, getting the preparation done to be able to eat well, just getting back to reducing my calorie intake and managing my hunger, getting enough sleep, all the stuff that we're going to do in this 5-day reset. I landed 3 days ago, was it? And I'm already down 1.5 kilos out of those 3 kilos. If it comes on quickly, it's going to come off quickly. It's mostly just undigested food and water, and it will come off very, very quickly if you just get the right things in place. Okay, so really quickly, what this isn't is it's not a hardcore detox. Somebody messaged me the other day saying, what is your reset gonna do? Is it gonna be skipping breakfast and cutting out all wheat and sugar and dairy and doing something really, really extreme pounds? Will I be able to lose the 3 kilos that I need to lose in this reset? And the answer is a hard no. That is not the point of this reset. The major point of this reset is getting you in the right headspace and the right mindset to lay the groundwork for losing weight. I can't guarantee results. I'm not even saying that you'll lose any weight in this. If you do the right things, you probably will lose weight, especially if you've gained a lot of weight quickly over a short period of time, like, the week of Christmas or Hanukkah. The point is to learn how to get back on track and to learn how to get in the right mindset, and also to think about all of the things that surround nutrition and training that are also very, very, very important. So over the next 5 days, here are the things that we're gonna do. Here are the kind of focus for every single day. Day 1 today is all about preparation and basics. So listening to this podcast is part of your preparation, but we're also gonna talk about shopping. You're hopefully going to be getting some movement, going out for a walk, getting some sunlight, and getting yourself in the right headspace. I'm going to go over those things in just a moment, but that's the basic idea. Day number 2 is about meals, and we're going to focus on the really important things you need to know about eating meals and creating a basic meal plan. Don't worry, it's not going to be like the same or really strict or anything like that. I'm going to take you through my very unique way of approaching meal plans for busy mums that is going to completely transform the way that you think about meal plans. Day number 3, sorry/not sorry, we're going to talk about calories, because if fat loss is your goal, you will need to be in a calorie deficit. And whatever your goal is, understanding how many calories you need to maintain your weight is a really important thing to know. Day number 4, we're going to do a basic mobility and strength circuit. And day number 5, I'm going to leave you with the most important mindset shifts that you will need for the rest of the journey. Okay, so let's go over day 1 instructions and exactly what you need to do today other than this walk and listening to this podcast. So the first thing that you're going to do after this is shopping. You're going to go and get some basics in. You don't need to go to a supermarket and get a massive shop. You just need to get some basics from your local college, corner shop, whatever it is that you have near you, because you will not be able to eat healthily or eat proper meals if you don't have just some basic ingredients in the house. What I see so many women do is that they don't have the basic stuff to just make basic things. And then what they end up doing is just going, or they don't have anything that will just take 3 minutes to prepare, right? They're starving hungry at 12, working from home, and there's nothing there to eat. So what do they end up doing? Just going to the cupboard and picking at chocolate, bits of cheese, crisps, things like that. And that is gonna be terrible. And if they're really feeling really motivated, they'll go and have some dates and some nuts, and that is gonna be terrible for your fat loss journey as well. So check the email for the shopping list, but I'll quickly run through it now. I'm basically gonna break it down into 3 things. So number 1 is a protein source. Protein or Greek yogurts, either get them in individual like 200-gram packs or a big one. Tuna, just get some tuna in oil or in water, whatever you prefer. Get some cheddar cheese or some hard cheese or what we call yellow cheese, full fat cheese, which is usually about 27%, just like the most basic thing, whatever you like the most, something that will melt well in a cheese toastie. Get yourself some milk, eggs, and cottage cheese. Low fat cottage cheese, anything under 5% fat is considered low fat. So just anything in that region. Then carbs, you're just gonna get bread, right? All I want you to get is just a loaf of bread or a packet of pita, white bread, brown bread, I don't care what. And yes, I know it's crazy to have bread included in a reset, but as I said, like there is nothing, first of all, this is not your standard detox or reset. Number 2, bread is extremely convenient, it's very filling, and it's also nutritional and can be part of a well-rounded diet. So if you are a busy person who tends to not succeed on their health and fitness journey because they don't have enough time, then bread is going to be your friend. It is going to make your life so much simpler. And including bread in a fat loss program is gonna change your life. And then the final category is fruit and veg. What I would recommend getting for the recipes and things that I'm going to suggest is just get some apples, and if you can, get some frozen raspberries, but you can use any fruit that you want. You can get a different frozen fruit, you can get fresh fruit, it doesn't really matter. I just like raspberries with a bit of sugar with my yogurt or on my smashed raspberry toast, which I'm going to share with you as well. Then just get some cherry tomatoes. Why cherry tomatoes? Because they're just easy to eat, like grab a handful and just eat them, and cucumbers. But again, you can get anything that you want or just regular tomatoes. It doesn't really matter. This is all you need, okay? This is all you need to implement my simplest meal plan of all time for busy mums. The rationale behind this is that I can't get eating and preparing food down to nothing, okay? The thing about fat loss is that you can't just not eat in order to save time. I know so many people who are like, oh, I'm too busy to make a meal, so I just don't eat and then I get really hungry. That doesn't work, because then you get ridiculously starving, and you will eat anyway, but you'll make bad choices around food. So the most I can do for you, if you're a busy mum with a full-time job, the best I can do for you is I can get your meal planning and preparation down to an absolute minimum, as simple as possible, something that each meal only takes 3 minutes to rustle up and get together, and comes from very basic ingredients like the ones I've suggested in this shopping list. And you need to have this stuff in the house. Tomorrow we'll talk about the meal plan, and this will be your basic meal plan that you can add to afterwards if you want to. But this has to be the lowest level of your meal plan, the most basic meal plan that you can execute on your busiest day, not on your most chill, perfect day where you're only working a half day or you're not working at all. That won't work on your busiest day, because if you have to chop up an elaborate salad with 17 different ingredients, and you have to grill some chicken and bake some sweet potatoes in order to create said salad, guess what? When you have a busy day of back-to-back calls working from home, you are not going to do this. So the way I approach meal planning is to do the opposite, to come up with the most basic meal plan with the most basic ingredients. Every meal shouldn't take more than 3 minutes to rustle up and put together. And then even when you're super duper busy, you can just fall back on these super simple meals. And the honest truth is that if you don't have the time to at least have this sort of stuff stocked up in your house, then you won't succeed at fat loss. You're too busy, right? This is the minimum amount of effort that's required to just eat very sensible meals. We're going to talk more about this meal plan tomorrow, but for now, those are the ingredients that you need. You have a shopping list in the email that I sent you. And if you're just listening to this podcast and you haven't signed up for the reset, I'll put a link below to the 5-day realistic reset so that you can go through the emails as well. One final thing I want to say about this shopping list is if you have food intolerances or allergies like dairy or gluten or whatever, or just simply don't like something on the list, you can replace it with whatever you want. This is a simple, generic plan for most people, most of the time, like 80-20 rule here, like 80% of people. It's also a generic plan and it's a base plan that will work for most people most of the time. I cannot take individual preferences into account when I'm doing like a group like this. But if you do want individual coaching and things very, very specific to your preferences and intolerances, then sign up for online coaching because I can do all of that for you one-on-one. Okay, so step 2 and 3, you're hopefully already doing this. Out for a walk, half-hour walk, and listening to this podcast. And ideally, I want you to go for a walk every day during this reset, both to get a bit of movement in and to listen to the podcast that I send you and get in the right frame of mind or know exactly what you need to do on each day. And the reason why I'm saying go for a walk instead of doing anything like following one of my workouts on YouTube or going to a HIIT class or doing anything fancy is because so much of getting in shape and getting back on track is about lowering the bar. If you haven't worked out for a while, if you maybe haven't been sleeping enough, I came back from Christmas in the UK feeling really, really tired. The flights make me really tired, spending time with everyone. I haven't worked out for over a week and I haven't really moved my body. And so my goal on day 1 is to just go out for a walk, just get my body moving and just start again. I'll build on this in the coming days. And I think it's on day 3 or 4, we'll do some strength training and some mobility work. But for now, I just want you to just move your body for half an hour and realize that's good enough. And think of it as bridging the gap, right? Starting with something small, lowering the bar and starting with something so that you can build on it and bridge the gap between not doing anything and hopefully getting into a more regimented, more structured training plan. Okay, step number 4 is to just drink lots of water. This shouldn't be complicated. This should be self-explanatory. You don't need to drown yourself with water, but try to get a bit more water in. Most mums just don't drink enough and most people just don't drink enough, and staying hydrated is not going to completely change your life or your energy levels if you aren't eating right and if you aren't exercising and if you aren't sleeping enough, but it does help. It's one small thing and it's a piece of low-hanging fruit. What I recommend, if you don't have one, go onto Amazon and order yourself a 1.5 litre drinking bottle. I like one that's insulated because I like to drink really cold ice water, and one that has a straw in it because if I have to tip it up, I just won't drink. And I've tried everything. Unless I have a bottle sitting next to me, I just don't drink. And then I get really, really thirsty. So having the right equipment changes everything. Get yourself a drinking bottle, keep it full, try and finish it by lunch, then fill it up and try and finish it again before you finish work and go and pick up the kids, so before 4, and then try and drink another one in the evening, right? And that's going to be loads and loads and loads of water, probably more than you need, so it doesn't matter if you get a lot less than that. Okay, step number 5, this is probably the simplest one, but probably also the hardest. You're going to go to bed early because no diet or exercise plan will ever compensate for sleep deprivation. And most mums that I know simply are not sleeping enough ever. So your mission today is to get the kids to bed on time, whatever time that is. Mine are in bed by 8 o'clock. They're not asleep by 8 o'clock, but they're in bed by 8 o'clock. And I leave the room and I go and sort myself out for bed. So get them to bed on time, maybe start their evening routine a bit earlier. I know it's hard. You are not allowed to look at your phone or any screen. You are only allowed to do things that will help you wind down for sleep. Scrolling on Instagram does not help you wind down for sleep. It just stimulates you. It gives you emotional reactions. Especially Instagram nowadays is not what it was 5 years ago. The algorithm is very, very much based on anger and outrage. So you'll probably get yourself worked up about how awful the world is, and then wake up from your trance after half an hour if you're lucky, an hour if you're not, and then go, oh fuck, now it's 9 o'clock and now I feel really stressed and now I feel really stimulated. This is a really terrible strategy. If you feel like you never get enough sleep and you don't sleep well, but you spend an hour scrolling before you go to bed, then here's your answer, right? It's a really simple strategy for getting a better night's sleep. So what do you do after you get the kids down? You are only allowed to do things that will help you wind down for sleep. So eat if you haven't yet. I like to eat after my kids go to bed because I don't like eating with them because then I'm not mindful. But if you've already eaten, that's fine. Have a shower, wash your face, take your makeup off, get into some comfortable pajamas, turn the lights down low, and get into bed. Get into bed with a book. You know those things that are made out of paper? Sit with one of those. Don't take your phone into your room. Don't scroll in bed, and just read until you're sleepy enough to go to sleep. And if you can't do that for one evening, if you can't go one evening without your phone, without Netflix, without Instagram, or without checking work emails, no reset on planet Earth or diet or training plan is ever going to work and is ever going to help you. And if you are chronically sleep deprived, then you have to start getting into a routine of sleeping earlier, getting to bed earlier. It doesn't have to be at 8 o'clock every night, but if you are sleep deprived and you have a sleep debt, you probably need a little bit more sleep to bridge the gap, and then you'll be able to get away with a bit less afterwards. Get an early night tonight. Tomorrow morning, you will thank me after 8 hours of sleep. You'll feel like a different person. And what a lot of people on my program realize is that they just never feel good because they're never sleeping enough. And if that's you, then that's probably going to be at least part of the answer to how you're going to get really good results later on. But for now, let's just get one good night of sleep and then we can take it from there. That's it. That's the end of day one. And I just want to remind you that remember that this is just the start. We are not trying to completely transform our body in 5 days or lose 10 pounds in 5 days. We are going about this the grown-up way, okay? We are grown women now. We are mothers now. If you're like me, you're in your 30s. I'm 39 this year. We are getting on in life. We're moving towards midlife. We are grown up and mature, and we need to start approaching dieting in a mature way and not like we did when we were teenagers or in our 20s where we go bang and bust. We have to be sensible about this. We have other shit to do. We cannot just focus on nothing but diet and fitness for the next 3 months, completely transform our body, and then go back to our old crappy habits. That is not going to work. If you want to set yourself up for the rest of your life, for a future pregnancy, for your 40s, for your 50s, for menopause, for old age, in terms of strength, in terms of being the right body weight, in terms of your health, we can't rush this, okay? It's like if you want to bake a cake and the instructions say 180 degrees for 40 minutes. You can't just say, oh, I don't have 40 minutes. I'm just going to whack the temperature up. I'm just going to whack the intensity of my diet and training plan up and bake the same cake in 20 minutes instead of 40 or 5 minutes. You just end up with a burnt, crusty cake on the outside and that's uncooked on the inside and will fall flat. And it's the same with your diet and training. We're not going to get massive results in the next 5 days. We are starting to be more patient, and we have to learn how to play the long game and set ourselves up for success and get in the right mindset. And we are going to talk about mindset on day 5 and some other key insights that you need for your journey. But the main thing that you need to take away from this is that results don't happen overnight. It's going to take many months, years, decades. It's about what you do over long periods of time. You have to learn how to get back on track and stop expecting everything to be perfect forever and ever and to cut everything out. And you have to stop being a perfectionist and expect yourself to do a diet completely perfectly, cut sugar out for the rest of your life and never overeat ever again. So I'll leave you with that thought. Go and get your shopping so that you've got food for the next 5 days at least, and join me tomorrow for day 2 of this 5-day realistic reset.